that's disgusting.
People don't like Globochem and its 2023 different products.
The perception is that this company is a monster.
A beast.
A cold, heartless, smelly behemoth.
Run by a greedy,
fat-headed fatty pants.
A fatso. Who do you think you are? This company cares. We were in the people business when you were in short pants. My great-great-great-grandfather started this company with one single rickety, leaky, handcrafted slave ship and a simple motto: people selling people to people. So don't tell me that I'm fat!
I'm married to a woman.
So are all my regulars. You strike me as a angry top. I'm clean, but you do have to glove up unless you're down for some frottage.
Frottage?
It's French for rubbing our dicks together.
For shame, Doc. Hunting rabbits with an elephant gun.
Elephant gun?
That's right, Doc. So why don't you go shoot yourself an elephant? You do, and I'll give you such a pinch!
We're going to start our volleys. We hope you like the show. For everything is ready. We're raring to go. We'll give you all the latest songs and dances full of pep. We're gonna start with hard shots. Just watch this chorus steps.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fantastic Comics Presents. My name is Ewell. Welcome. It is our 89th episode. We do this every Tuesday at 8 o'clock. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are here, hello. In fact, for those of you that are here, God, if I could only do it so seamlessly, but after I think about it.
Sup?
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 Hello.
What's up?
Fantastic Comics Presents says, what's up, everybody? We're going to get to the comments in the chat in a moment. What are you guys looking forward to tomorrow? All the comic books are in. So if you are expecting something to come out tomorrow, there's a good chance I have it in the store. We will open at 12 to 5. For those of you that don't know, Fantastic Comics is not just a YouTube channel amongst the sea of all the other YouTube channels talking about comic books. We are also a comic book store in Berkeley, California. You can check out all the information scrolling down on the bottom of the screen. Go to fantasticcomics.com and you can see comics that we have on sale, back issues, expensive stuff. It's really awesome. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We have a Patreon account. I'll roll with something later on about that. But this is a comic book show that comes on just before New Comic Book Day, which is, if you're open on a Tuesday, you can have DC Comics. We are not open on Tuesdays, as you can see. It's Wednesday through Sunday. And we talk about comics from a store's point of view. There was some hot stuff that came out a couple days ago because of the New York City Comic Con or the New York Comic Con. And, everybody tries to whip it out and let everybody know what's all, their business is all about. And Marvel, oh, we're going to do this, and DC, we're going to do this, and it's mainly about what DC is going to be doing come the 5th issue of a Superman episode, and that's what we're mostly going to be talking about, Superman and his. Why are we going to talk about this? It's a reason to talk about stuff, and it can kind of like I don't know, maybe we can enlighten ourselves. And not be so angry about it. All right, let's go to anybody. Fantanium's here early. Here he says Soups is playing for both teams now. Know what I'm saying? Very good. That's exactly what I mean. Thank you for summing it up so succinctly, Fantanium. Shelby Pills in the other room, and all the way down south is Diablo Hashcraft. Another beautiful show, and I hope tomorrow will be another beautiful day, Moby. Craig, what's up? And Rick Worley. Wow, hi, Rick. How's it going? Wait a second. Hi, Rick. How's it going?
Pretty good.
I'm
not allowed to type in the chat?
No, you are. I just thought that was I'm playing it. I'm just playing it by ear. It seemed like a perfect time, like it was meant to be. Everybody, the interview for today, I guess we could call it an interview, is Rick Worley. Hi, it's good to talk to you.
It's good to talk to you.
I'm really happy to have you on because of this whole conversation about Superman being bisexual. That's the key. He's bisexual because they've gone through doing all the other things that they're going to do to characters, and they've ignored bisexuality probably more than almost any other sexuality, if I'm not mistaken. So DC, in the span of like a month, since like almost the last time I had you on, they have now 2 new bisexual characters in their DC universe.
Well, they've been doing that for a while. I mean, isn't Poison Ivy's bisexual, right? And Catwoman is bisexual.
Is she?
Harley Quinn is bisexual. What, are they all lesbians? I'm asking. Well,
I don't know, because I guess. See, the thing is often a femme fatale will use her feminine wiles to beat down a guy's defenses. But do they really like guys when they're doing that? Was Harley just manipulated so much that she just didn't care? That could be the story. Or maybe I just hate men now.
That's the new. Is that the new Harley take? Because she's not responsible for her life of crime because the Joker forced her, right?
Well, I don't think that's necessarily true, because in the Batman book, she is trying to go the straight and narrow. But in her animated series, she's flipping the bird, cussing, and I guess eating Poison Ivy out.
It's the lesbian and narrow.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what's going on in Batman. So it's 2 different Harleys. That's the thing about DC. They're allowing any interpretation of characters from the past, and at any time we could be seeing something with those characters. All right, so case in point, we have Batman 89, which follows the movie, and Superman 78. You have the Infinite storylines, which has all these other characters kind of getting together from the different Earths also. And Batman, the detective, has been going on when he has left Gotham, which he hasn't even done yet. And it's open that they could be telling stories from back when Bane broke his back days and just kind of fill in stuff like that. We already see that in X-Men. They have an X-Men Legends book, which for however long it goes, it just takes original creators, and they're allowing them to kind of play with the time period that they were known for.
Yeah, and the symbiote Spider-Man series and all that.
Yeah, Peter David.
That kind of stuff is kind of the Batman 89 kind of thing. Is that actually supposed to be a different Earth inside the multiverse, or is that just just a side project, or like Batman 66 or the Wonder Woman TV show comics.
When
Is
you
that like
read,
actually in the multiverse, or is it?
when you read Death Metal, should you do so? It's so, kind of like flighty and non-decisive that it feels like anything can go on at any time. So sure, this Jonathan Kent's bisexual, but the one I'm writing about isn't.
So the answer is that it's different in every book. They're just making it up as they go.
Kind of. Well, I mean, since everything ultimately is just a mini series with DC and for the most part Marvel right now, they're not very committal either. They're committed to the books. There's let me while I'm telling you this, let me show you a picture to confirm this. Coming out tomorrow. Why do I do things this way? Is Kazar #2. Look at that. This is him having trouble with his son who has powers of shooting flowers from his hand.
Okay.
In a world of dinosaurs, I don't know if that matters, but
especially big robot dinosaurs. It's not.
Yeah, it's a 5-issue miniseries. Ta-da! Some series you don't know how long they're going to go. The Harley that we're talking about, here she is. This is coming out. That's a 6-issue miniseries, I think. So that's what a lot of ordering is that way, and you expect it from Dark Horse, maybe Image, definitely Boom. Unless it's Power Rangers, they can just keep going with that. Who cares? But there's not really any effort to put up to say this is what we're about, other than just making a shit ton of Batman books and making characters bisexual right now.
So they just gave up, is basically what
they just gave up. Well, it's kind of like I guess Bendis did an interview with Wizard one time about we have lost the ability to tell any story when we cross the Ultimate Universe in with the 616. And
right.
When they did, everybody reminded everybody about that. And here we are.
Yeah.
There's nothing new. There is something new.
I remember I read an interview a while ago that I always think about. I think I've said this to you before. I think it was an interview with Jerry Conway when they were talking about the original Clone Saga, where he introduced the Jackal, like in Amazing 128 or whatever. And he said that that was a big controversy at the time, because the editors thought if there were two people in the Marvel universe that had Spider-Man's powers, if he had a clone, they thought, well, then Spider-Man's not special anymore. What's the point of Spider-Man comics? It's so funny to think about that now when there's 9,000 Spider-Man everywhere.
That's definitely in the internet world of people that are talking about comics, like 10 of them. One of the things that gets brought up often is the fact that there is a ton of Spider-Man figures out there, different styles. But I'm just waiting for that India one to blow up, because I got every single issue in mint condition.
India? Which one's that?
He was like Peter. If I say something funny, trying to be funny, it will be insulting, and I can't really remember what the last name was. But remember when Neil Gaiman did like 1612 or whatever it was? Yeah. And Peter Parker in France was Peter Parkour. Well, there was that equivalent in India. Okay. And his name was like Peter, or probably the Indian equivalent. And it was a 4-issue miniseries, but I'm always waiting for that to blow up.
He's the Indian Spider-Man. I hadn't seen that one. I hadn't seen that one yet.
That came out like in the 2000s. So one of the people in the news recently, I guess, is CB Sabolsky.
Uh-huh.
CB Sabolsky, he like runs Marvel, he's like editor-in-chief or something like that. At one time when he was in Japan, I guess this guy's like what is it, a Japanophile or something like that. He really, he eats, sleeps, and breathes the culture. Anyway, he's over there working for Marvel, and when they did the Mangaverse, he wrote under an assumed name, Akira Yoshida.
Yeah.
Akira. And there was a showrunner or a writer or something of Daredevil for the Netflix series, like the first 2 seasons. His name is DeKnight, I think it was. Dude's like, I'm not working for Marvel ever again until this motherfucker's gone. and it was like, yeah, that was something he did like a long time ago, and that's been taken care of.
Well, yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I'm not even sure what level you're supposed to be offended on. It's not like he was stealing jobs from Japanese people or like he was trying to make fun of Japanese people. It was just a pen name for that particular project, right? Because it was like a manga-inspired thing.
I also have Thor, Son of Asgard. That was a maxi series that he wrote. Akira wrote.
Oh, did he?
And
okay.
It's like young Thor.
Yeah.
And that's the only one I have of his.
No, I know that because it's still there's still on Twitter. There's a certain number of people that anytime his name comes up in a news story, there's people that'll still try to make that a thing. Like, are we just ignoring that this guy impersonates Japanese people? And they'll try to make
should laugh at him, if anything.
Yeah, it was silly, but it was hardly like horrifying racism. But yeah, people still bring that up anytime you talk about him.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like you said, there was nobody back then that was like chomping at the bit to go work at Marvel from Manga Land, as far as I know. Japanese don't really seem to care too much about capes and tights for the most part. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But I mean, there's definitely superheroics in manga, but it's not the same as what we read, and what we read isn't the same as what they read, whatever. Hey, would you like to look at a couple books that are coming out tomorrow before we get into the weeds?
Sure.
All right. First things first, I want everybody to recognize tomorrow, supposedly, Captain Kirk is going to go out in space for the first time. Did you hear about that?
Yeah. Isn't he's going on one of Jeff Bezos's jack-off little space rockets?
That's right.
Yeah.
It could be the last time we've seen him on Earth,
Well, I know it's not as, hard as it used to be, but astronauts, they used to have to train physically for like years before they could go into space, right? And William Shatner is like a fat 92-year-old. I'm like, is he he's gonna die when they're like 100 feet up, right? I hope not. That would be sad. But he doesn't seem like,
maybe a little bit more than 100 feet. I think he's flown.
Well, it's intense to be in a rocket, right? It's like I don't know.
Yeah, it's like some weird ass plane looking thing. It's like more like a Quinjet, I think, is what they're going to be flying in.
Okay.
January of next year. I want you guys to all mark this down. Saga Returns. Yes. This was our #1 selling book and graphic novel all time for Fantastic Comics. And I know we've moved, but if you have friends that are really into Saga and they've been pining for the 3+ years it's been on hiatus, not the one that they originally announced. We'll give them the COVID break, of course, but still 2 years. That's been one. COVID didn't kill me. Saga not coming out killed me. But we're killed. We were on a life support. Now we're doing, it's much more fun at least. So Saga is coming out in January. Tell a friend. All right, here's the books I chose to talk about. And also these kind of play in some of these. People are really, these are the things that get people upset sometimes. The portrayal of She-Hulk recently, people have been really upset with. She's like really, really super buff and masculine and kind of like dumb in speech. But at the same time, she's thinking as Jennifer Walters. And she's very much in control and not the sexy She-Hulk from the past. And that's gotten a lot of people upset. Although I think she looks kind of cute here, even though she's like super ripped and thick.
Oh, she's the big red thing?
The big red thing.
I thought she was still green.
She was. Recently, she got kidnapped by vampires and people that run the Red Room in Russia. And for like a week or two straight, she was brainwashed, and now she's an agent of them.
Got it.
They did some poisoning of her. That's why she's red now. And they did that. They were able to do that because, like the vampires were like sucking her dry. Well, not dry, but anyway, sucking her. Jeff Lemire's Black Hammer Reborn is out. The 4th issue of this has been very good. I liked it. It has a lot of getting the team back together because Lucy is older after she has stopped being the Black Hammer. That's after they get to Earth. Spoilers for anybody who's only just started reading it. You should read it. It's very good. They make it out of the situation they're in, but now we're in another one. The thing that's weird about it is that also tomorrow, the Unbelievable Unteens, which is a Jeff Lemire Black Hammer, World of Black Hammer book, they're kind of doing a get the team back together also. What they're trying to do is wake up this woman who's writing and drawing these really awesome comic books. They're really just memories of adventures that she had with her friends. And they're trying to get the team back together. So it's a little odd that he'd be, the same writer writing the same thing. Anyway, coming out from Marvel tomorrow, we have X-Men number 4. That's a little blurry. Anyway, I thought that's a pretty cool picture. Wonder Woman 780. She's back. Wonder Woman. A lot of conjecturing whether or not Wonder Woman is bisexual. How could she not be with a world full of women only? What do you have to say about that?
About Wonder Woman being bisexual?
Is she bisexual?
I mean, I thought so. When they were all busy canceling Joss Whedon, that was one of the things they were upset about. Was there was something in his Justice League script about her being bisexual, and people thought that was condescending somehow. So I don't know what you're supposed to think.
Oh wow, I
don't really care who Wonder Woman does, but I thought
Spider-Man number 76 that comes out tomorrow. This is one of the 3 Amazing Spider-Mans that will be out this month. Next month there will be another 3. You are going to have a quite an increase in that slot in your book, so you might want to start shifting now. Hopefully this will only last till the end of the year, and then we'll get a brand new number 1 because it's the new year, and I guess Marvel is going to have a whole lot of like relaunches. I guess barring the ones that have been relaunched lately, although we know Kieran Gillen's going to be doing X-Men, so this number 4 will probably be matched somewhere around April next year also.
Isn't this that Ben Reilly story supposed to go for, I think, didn't they say 19 issues or something like that?
Oh, wow. So, yeah, 3 a month. And we have, I don't know. They can 3 a month until they want to have until there's a 5th week and on and on. ETER is a Upshot one-shot comic. You should check it out. It's got Javier Pulido and Sean Crystal doing art. I guess Dan Panosian will be doing art too then. That's pretty cool. Upshot books have been okay. And I don't get many of these, but someone's going to want it. Harley Quinn. We already talked about this. Number 2. This is based off the animated series from HBO Max, where she cusses and is raunchy.
Oh, this is the raunchy Harley. I thought this was the trying to be good Harley.
No, that's in Batman.
Okay.
That's the real Harley. Real Harley? I don't know. Okay. That's that Harley. Of course, you have the animated that isn't like this animated Harley also.
Okay.
That's the not short shorts Harley, I guess.
Got it.
50 is the last issue of Immortal Hulk coming out tomorrow. This is has been a really good series. Al Ewing, who's blocked half the world on the social medias, even comic book stores, and much maligned Joe Bennett on art. But they had to finish the series, and I can't wait to read it. We talked about Kazar already. This is a father-son and sometimes Shauna drama. The son wants to be all adventurous, and Kevin plunders like, no, don't. But of course, he was that way when he was young. And this kid has powers where he shoots leaves and stuff from his hands.
I thought you said it was flowers.
I think it had flowers in the leaves also.
Okay.
Maybe vines. I can't remember. It was a little disappointing that Kazar was killed in Empire and is now alive. And I was such a fan of the series back when I was a kid, and it just doesn't have any of the lust for life that I felt the character had back then. But I did go back and read some of them recently, and although I like Bruce Jones a lot, I feel he's a sophisticated comic book writer. He definitely moves his plot along really quick when it comes to affections with people. So it's kind of Conan in that way. Nonetheless, Kazar, Shauna, and their kid. I Am Batman #2. This is actually the third issue of I Am Batman because they had a 0 issue. In every issue, there has been a different illustrator. I think the first one, the 0 one, was Hairsign. And the first one was, I can't remember now. And now Segovia is doing the art. Good artist. And John Ridley's telling a pretty cool story. I didn't like the 0 issue as much because it felt like it was very family driven only and less Batman. And now come the first issue, he's kicking ass a little bit more. And last but not least, Valiant. I've enjoyed the first 3 issues of Ninjak. This was, again, another much maligned comic book because people saw Javier Pulido's art and thought anybody could do this. I had a friend when I was a kid who looked at Bill Sienkiewicz's artwork from like New Mutants and stuff like that. And he's all, my four-year-old sister could do this. And I looked at him. I'm like, you're crazy. This guy is a master. And he doesn't see it. It's just scratches. It's just on a page. It doesn't mean anything to him. That's not Javier Pulido's style, but he mesmerizes, and the colors are so vivid, and it's different than almost any comic book that you open up, especially a superhero comic book. And Ninjak is one of the only characters from Valiant I actually like, so I recommend it. Done. Those are my recommendations, or at least my spotlights.
Good stuff.
I thought you would have. So what do you think of Spider-Man?
the current Spider-Man?
How are you reading it? Are you picking up an issue for him? Are you downloading it? What are you doing?
For the new issues,
you don't have to implicate yourself. I don't mean it that way.
No, for the new issues, I've been getting them digitally. For my old issues, I've been doing the omnibuses and the epic collections. But the I've been getting it in collections, so then I haven't been buying single issues. So if I want to check out the new stuff, I get a digital one because eventually I'll get the. I'm trying to get collections of everything in Amazing Spider-Man at least, and some of the other stuff, the Spectacular Spider-Man and Web of Spider-Man. But yeah, so not buying single issues. I'm getting the collections.
All right, right before we talk about Spider-Man, let me just say, see what these guys say. I saw somebody say something about CB speaking Japanese, or at least suggesting he should. My Hero Academia, it's really as far as superheroing, isn't that the only real superhero manga out there? I think if I had to compare something to Watchmen, I remember Pluto was very much like that, where the world's greatest robots were being assassinated. That one was kind of cool. Shatner is going to sing Rocket Man in Orbit. I'm sure he will. He's sing, right? That's
that's what he's known for.
Singing. Yeah, let's see. Wait, well, it looked like a Turok cover. Oh well. All right.
The Kazar.
Oh yeah, Kazar. Hey, Yule. I always set a reminder for your streams, but never get a notification, so I'm always late. Can you check things on your end to see if you're sending them out? I do indeed get one myself. What you might want to do is unnotify and notify. I've heard that works. But welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, so there you go. Oh, Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe is a fun one. Oh, was that a movie? They did an animated of that, I guess. Maybe live action? I didn't watch that though. I am not that big a Valiant fan. Have you ever read Valiant?
I was trying to think when you were talking about it. I'm sure I've read it.
Have you ever read Faith?
But,
the plus size superhero?
Yeah, I've picked up Faith in your store and flipped through.
Faith's horrible. She's wonderful in Harbinger, which was one of my favorite books from the 90s. Dave Lapham did the art, Jim Shooter did the writing, and it's a very good book. I like it a lot. And she was a bigger than big bone lady. She was definitely obese. But
I thought she was a new thing. She's been around since the 90s.
Oh yeah, totally. Okay. That's the thing. I had a person who used to be a customer who was working for Valiant. She came in the store and was like, chatting me up, and I was talking about how, you've got this character Faith, and you don't have to play up the fact that, I'm going to just be blunt, a fat girl, a fat woman. You don't have to play that up. You can play up the fact that she's been around since the 90s. She's a well-established, very important character in your universe, and you should play it that way. And the other stuff is just the other stuff. You know what I mean? But of course not. They're just like, oh, look at this. It's plus size, and we're so very, very proud of our fat people. And it's like, fuck you. It's like, no, she's fat. Yes.
I didn't know she. Yeah, I thought it was a new character.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You don't know that unless you go back and read that old ass stuff. And most people aren't going to really want to. And thank you. I appreciate that. Exactly.
When I was reading the old Roger Stern's Spider-Mans, that was something I was noticing was the fat jokes that they can never do today. Like Felicia Hardy breaks out of her mental institution. She ties up the nurse and leaves a sticker that says I'm a fat slob. And it's like a joke in there, but I was thinking like, oh my God, today Twitter would melt. I mean, me speaking as a big fat person, I can say I thought it was funny, but people would lose their shit today.
They do. Dan Slott came out and said that he was like apologetic, and Dan Slott, no one's saying he's ever skipped a meal. He did all sorts of fat jokes on Doc Ock, but that's what Spidey says. He's funny, but he's not so witty, I guess. He's back when he was created, there was Don Rickles and all those comedians that did that kind of stuff where they insulted people, comics.
He's Spider-Man. He's taking cheap shots at the bad guys to piss them off. He's not like saying it to a nice old lady that's fat. He's trying to piss off Doc Ock. So like there's a little bit of, you have to think about what it actually is. I mean, I saw that Dan Slott tweet, and I was a fat kid, and I used to read Spider-Man, and it like never crossed my mind to be offended. I always laughed at it. It never entered my head to be upset about it. They're telling fat people you should be upset by this, and they're like, oh, I should, because it's like I wasn't upset on my own, and I never thought of it until somebody told me I should be upset.
All right, I got some very important things here. I am fat and proud of myself. Goku, well, you should be proud of yourself. But we can all drink a little less beer or soda. Maybe I should eat a little less. Harbinger had the most generic art ever. Well, Craig, I am going to differ with you. We had a very young Dave Lapham and a very young Valiant at the time. And they were, churning out monthly work. And when you compare it to stuff like Image, it was very successful. And they had Barry Windsor Smith on books and some other people. I do agree that you might look at Harbinger and say that Lapham's work looks generic. But he tells a perfect story. It's amazing how he tells a story. You won't get lost. You don't need to read the words, but if the words are well written, it just makes it a joy anyway. Usually things don't get blocked. There's always space for that stuff, and he's just really, really good, and I think very dynamic. But that was his early work, so but I understand where you would say it's generic. Jim, no, we are not open for super chats. We have to have 1,000 subscribers, which we do not. We're not big time like Rick, and we're going to get into that too in a second. Where we have tons of subscribers and many, many hours logged by so many people that are willing to hear him say things.
See, I've only done one live stream of my own, and it was before I had very many subscribers. Is that after 1,000 you can do super chats? Is that how it works?
You do need hours also, and it has to be within a certain time. But once you're in, you can you can ask to be monetized.
I think I'm coming up on 5,000 subscribers, but I've only done one stream. So
you don't need streams. Streams hurt. Streams are also another thing that's bad. You should do videos like you do.
mean hours of video view time, not of streaming view time?
Yeah, just of viewing. The thing is but the thing is, super chats are for live streams. So, there's people out there that talk about aliens and stuff like that, and they don't need to be on on CB radio anymore. They have YouTube.
Right.
And if you have enough people, and I should really just start talking about aliens, is what I'm saying. And then it's who's that crazy guy that died and was on radio? Art Bell. There has to be another one out there, and they're on YouTube. It's great.
I think that's a good plan. That's how you're going to get your subscribers up. Alien theories.
That's right. Exactly.
Solid plan.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you'll see the hours in the monthly YouTube report also. Hello, sci-fi fantasy. Oh yeah. Do that. Do it. Yeah. We go frame by frame. Frame by frame on what? What are you guys talking? Oh, about Harbinger? Yeah, sure, definitely. We'll do that. We'll do a Harbinger bit. Okay. So, how are you feeling about the brand new Spider-Man, Rick?
The issue 875?
Well, you read 74, which was the end of Nick Spencer's run. He's now going over to Substack to apply his trade over there. Yeah. He brought a whole bunch of people, and they got big grants to work over there. And Scotty Young's working over there. Scott Snyder's going to do stuff. Scott Snyder's doing stuff over at Amazon. Everybody's leaving. Everybody that can get some money ship. Elsewhere is
Rats
leaving.
Off the sinking ship. Yeah.
Marvel and DC and stuff like that.
Yeah. When Nick Spencer I dipped into Nick Spencer like every few months. I'd read one or two issues, but I never read it front to back. But I think I got the gist of the Kindred thing, and I was just, I don't know, how honest am I supposed to be? You're trying to sell comic books. Should I say what I actually think about?
No, it's fine. Kindred happened. Look, I ordered Spider-Man not thinking that anybody's turning bisexual.
It was Spider-Man was the first comic book superhero that I liked as a kid. So I've read it off and on since like 1991 or something. So the whole whenever I'd read the Nick Spencer's issue, I was just amazed that I was like stunned by the incompetence that somebody thought that this was a good idea to let's like dip into like one more day and Sins Past and somehow like tie up dead Harry. Like it's the most deep dive. You have to be such a hardcore fan going back like 40 years to know what they're talking about. And a hardcore fan of like the worst storylines that they've ever done. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to devote like 70 years to like tying up plot minutia from the worst stories ever. I couldn't believe that it was a thing. So I tried the first issue of the new run because I was hoping like it would be a fresh start. But that wasn't really. It didn't. I mean, it's only one issue so far. So, but it's interesting.
All right. So what happened so all that Nick Spencer stuff. They tried to fix some stuff that was bad. They didn't fix everything, but at the end, MJ and Spidey like each other. But in this new issue, Ben Reilly's introduced to the scene along with his corporation that owns the Spider-Man name. Thanks a lot, Doc Ock. Dan Slott. And then Spidey basically gets cast at the end of the issue, and it looks like Ben's going to be the only Spidey in town for a while, or something like that.
Something like that. I was kind of confused by it, and like I'm thinking again, like I'm not the biggest expert. I don't know every little thing about, but I've read it off and on for 30 years, and I was thinking, like, if I'm confused by this, what the fuck is your average person gonna make of like all this weirdness? Like I don't know. It's weird. It's like I know that they're trying to fix stuff, and I know that like bringing back Mary Jane was a big goal, but it's like they're zeroing in on the Clone Saga and One More Day and Sins Past. It's like they're picking all the stuff that they used to be trying to forget, and then they're like trying to build up a whole thing out of like the plot minutiae, like, and like to expect people to remember like little details about the Clone Saga is like, I mean, I've read most of that stuff, and it's just you couldn't even follow that when it was new, when it was happening. It was too confusing. So to expect people 35 years later to like remember Ben Reilly's old girlfriend or something is just
it's ridiculous.
It's a choice.
I thought ultimately, though, in the new issue, if you had not read Spider-Man in a while and you don't care that Peter Parker isn't going to be the main character, it was okay. I don't know if I really enjoy the whole corporate America coming in and taking my superhero name. It's kind of a dick move, but that's what happens when Doc Ock's under your skin and he's corporatizing everything, I guess.
I don't mind when they shake things up, 'cause it's been 800 issues. They can shake it up. That's okay. It's just they're making such bizarre choices of what stuff that they're using, But I mean, like I liked Superior Spider-Man. I thought that was, it's like cool, whatever. I mean, because Peter Parker's going to come back eventually, so it's like, yeah, like let's do something different for a little bit.
Well, yeah, I thought that was fine. I did. That was the thing, though. It's just a chapter of this other story. You don't really need to have this pretense of, this is a whole new title or anything like that. It's Peter Parker's in the book too.
Yeah.
He's almost the villain in a way in Superior Spider-Man because he's trying to take over his body.
Yeah.
There were some funny scenes, and I know a lot of people were like kind of about it, but when Doc Ock is like, he's when Peter Parker's searching Doc Ock's mind, and he hits that time when him and Aunt May were together, Doc Ock and Aunt May, and he's like, oh, that's not cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
I felt like Dan Slott, I usually thought, had a pretty good balance of trying to use the character's history and like, oh, I remember that, Harry Osborn has a kid and stuff like that, just that he remembers stuff, but he wasn't. And so you felt like it was still building on the history, but he wasn't getting like bogged down in like, we have to spend 30 issues fixing One More Day or, shit like that.
Right.
The history was there, but that wasn't, the whole thing that they were doing.
Yeah.
But
all right. Well, and that concludes the new Spider-Man talk. Rick, you have a YouTube channel that's very successful.
It's doing okay considering I've only posted a few videos.
It's true. You have long form videos that you've also broken up into little bits, and then you have some follow-up videos on the videos that you talk about.
Yeah, I've basically done like 3 big videos, and then there's kind of like satellite videos that are subsidiary videos to the long ones. But
now you most recently had a video that you put up. It's like about an hour long, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I did a video about Sopranos. It was an hour long, and that one's been doing pretty well. I've been pretty happy. I think in like a week it got about 15,000 views. So I think people like it.
15,000 views. Wow.
Yeah, in a week it got. I think we might be coming up on 16.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that makes me happy because before that I hadn't posted anything new since last December. So the fact that I posted it and I still had an audience, I thought, oh, that was really nice because I thought, I disappeared for 10 months. I thought that everybody went away, but apparently there's still people that were, so I'm happy about that. That's cool.
All right, so so the first video that you got big on was your Star Wars video about the first. It's really the first movie of the prequels, right?
Well, all the prequels, but yeah, it's based on the beginning of the
Right. So that was a pretty good one. I like your. It's like you're having a debate with all the people that have ever said anything negatively, basically. It's a one-sided debate on that regard. But
it was
you bring up
20
their points pretty well, I think.
Yeah, it was 20 years of me being annoyed by having arguments about that movie, and then just finally putting it all into video. My answers for all the arguments. That's basically what it was.
Yeah.
And
your premise, what was that premise on the Star Wars Phantom Menace and on the prequel movies?
Yeah, it was basically.
Is that it? Phantom Menace?
Yeah, Phantom Menace is.
I can't remember the titles anymore. If it's not the original 3, I don't care.
it was about my ideas about George Lucas as what George Lucas is trying to do as a filmmaker. But yeah, it was focused on the prequels. The fan reaction to the prequels.
And it's how we don't deserve these movies.
Oh yeah, the title is the prequels are better movies than you deserve. That's
what it was. The deserve part. That's that little rankle. That's like, well, fuck you.
I like to have something kind of sassy in the title, but you have to be careful because, like, I did that other video that I put Red Letter Media is wrong about everything in the title, and just the fact that I'm dunking on Red Letter Media in the title, I get like so much hate and hostility and downvotes and angry messages. Like, it's been up for 2 years and I still get like angry direct messages about it by people who haven't watched it just because that's in the title. I get hate. And so I'm like, you have to be careful about the title because it could take a video that they might have liked the video, but just based on the title, they're going to come for you. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
you have to watch it really.
For sure.
But yeah, that was my first.
And then now, what do you get angrier people commenting to you about that Red Letter Media or the Woody Allen video that you did?
It's comparable but different. it's the different internet subcultures. I get of course I get hundreds of people that the Woody Allen that they haven't watched the video. They just saw that my title that I say Woody Allen is innocent. So it's some crazy woman that used to write reviews for some comic book website, and she started harassing me on Twitter saying I was a sexual predator and that she was going to tell all the people in the comic book industry not to work with the sexual predator like me and all this stuff, and she was going to ruin me, and this is based on she's never watched the video. She's posting all these messages where she's not tagging me, but she's talking about me. So I have to go find the messages, and I find like all these messages about me where she's saying I'm a sexual predator. She thought I was like a 60-year-old guy for some reason. She had me confused with somebody else. She misspells my name. Like, she literally doesn't know what my name is, but she knows that I'm a sexual predator. She knows that, So that's the type of stuff I get from the Woody Allen video. Just absolute nut bars.
All right, and so your most recent one is about Sopranos. It's about the last episode of The Sopranos.
Yeah, well, the last season kind of. It's about the ending of the show. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's that one. I'm surprised it's doing pretty good.
Well, it has the movie that just came out also, so you timed it well.
I posted it the day that the movie came out. That was because I actually have another video that's going to come out in a couple days. But I wanted to do something to get eyes back on the channel. So I sped up the Sopranos video so that I could have it posted when the movie came out. So it seemed like it worked pretty well because people are looking at it.
So you have another video coming up soon?
I do. I'll give your channel a big reveal. My next Star Wars video is coming out in a couple days.
Whoa!
First place I've told that because it's
wow. It's so safe here. But
I don't like to give myself release dates because then I will always miss the release date. But it's almost done. Couple more days.
All right, excellent. All right, another Star Wars video. Can't wait. Yeah. Everybody likes to watch Star Wars videos, especially if they're long. It seems. So find out about monetizing your channel now because you should be already able to do that.
Oh my channel's monetized.
Oh, it is already.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't know about the live streams, about the super chats.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Okay.
But my
Understood.
videos, I do. Most of my videos have ads. I didn't put ads on the Woody Allen video because I didn't want people to say I was, that I was just doing that for money, or So which might have been a mistake to leave ads off, because now it has 250,000 views. I could have made money, but
that's interesting. You should say that. All right, let's get into our conversation about gays in comic books, gay characters in comics. I'm going to actually turn off my screen so I can share, or my picture, so I can share pictures with you. I just kind of get a little shy when I'm not being able to see what's going on. Let me just get this up really quick. I am going to just show pictures while we talk. And I'm going to just start off right now with what you said about not wanting to profit from, obviously you're talking about Woody Allen and sexual predators and
right.
and the very touchy subject that's going on with that. And if you were to make money off of it, not that ABC or HBO or all those other efforts that are doing stuff like that aren't making money off of it.
Right.
But you aren't making money off of it.
No,
so
I haven't made $1 off that.
So here we are, the jaded comic book fan that has no care about what a sexuality of a character is might take a look at something and say, oh, they're making this Muslim character, or not sexuality. They're making this Muslim character, making this character black. They're making this character woman. They're making this character gay. They're making this character bisexual, trans, whatever it may be, so that they can get eyes on their products so that people will pay attention and maybe give them money. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is what the company's trying to do to begin with.
Yeah, that's not jaded. That's just the truth.
Well, it is the truth. But I mean, it feels like a lot of times there's always something, like, I don't care about everything until that one thing. You know what I mean? There is something out there that's going to be, it just gets me a little bit. And I don't know if I've never necessarily seen that, but sometimes, and maybe I'm used to it now, but, maybe like when I was reading Sandman and, oh, this is where you're going to put a gay character and there's a gay character, that type of thing. I think some people do it artfully, and it's comics are sometimes artful, and then sometimes they aren't. And it's amazing that this first picture is going to be coming up. Let me just share screen. This is, I put them alphabetically, sorry. So this is pretty much like one of the, as far as I remember, one of the first gay characters in superhero comics. And it's North Star. And it was a real, I don't know. I thought it was pretty, it's pretty lame if you ask me. But I was like more steeped in the time and it was different. And so I'm not sure if I necessarily was seeing it in the right light. What do you think about North Star and his portrayal of being gay in comics?
I was never that into him. I don't really. Well, it was kind of already done by the time that I was old enough to be aware of it.
Sure,
so it wasn't like a change or a shock for me.
Right.
I just wasn't that interested in him. I don't know. It didn't do a lot for me.
Only recently have they really played him as a character.
Yeah, he didn't really have a story until, or not that I read a lot of.
Well, I mean, in Alpha Flight, he did. It wasn't until much later when the book was sagging in sales, and a book back then, could go to 100 issues and still be a shitty seller. Not like it is now. It was just different numbers.
Well, yeah, a shitty seller back then was like what, 50,000 copies?
I think it was a lot higher. Yeah. We're not in the Jim Shooter 100,000 era, but I'm sure it was like 50 or 60. But Alpha Flight was probably towards the bottom of the 100 or 2 or whatever it was. But so they bring out, North Star comes out of the closet, and it felt like this is just a way to get people to care about Alpha Flight. Instead of putting, good people on it, like, not Scott Lobdell on the book or Mark Pacella. just change this character's, what you know about this character. Of course, a lot of the creators of the character came out, like John Byrne, I think, said that, ultimately he was supposed to be. Although it could have been Chris Claremont, so there might have been a fight between them. I can't remember how it goes. So what do you think of, God, I don't know. We were talking about it beforehand, but now we're not quite so succinct.
I think the first gay characters in superhero comics that I was actually aware of were the Green Lantern story. He had the friend that got killed or something. Wasn't that?
Oh my God, you're talking about
this is like early 2000s, late 90s.
Right, so that was when Kyle Rayner. It's funny.
Yeah.
That guy's name is Terry Berg, and he was the art assistant to this magazine that Kyle Rayner worked for, because Kyle Rayner was an illustrator.
Right.
And Judd Winnick. Okay, here's the end time story of Terry Berg getting gay bashed, basically. Judd Winnick was writer of Green Lantern at that time, and the eye-rolling thing with Judd Winnick is always about how he does stuff because of Pedro and Real World, which I saw. Awesome, very moving, very emotional, pucks and ass, all that stuff. And it was up here in San Francisco before I moved up here, so it was like it was cool. And Judd Winnick's from up here and all this other stuff. But he's always, he did a book called Pedro and Me. It's like, it always feels like he's capitalizing on, of course, it's me, jaded comic book store worker, saying that, as opposed to, diplomatic store owner Yule. But
he's capitalizing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he seems like a sensitive lad.
I don't think he's doing it like in a cynical kind of way, but I think that's sort of
it's a shtick.
It's the only material he has. It's like that's the only stuff people know about his stories. Is like giving AIDS to Speedy.
Yeah, kind of.
That's kind of all that people know his stories for, really. I mean, outside of comic book people.
Well, he didn't give AIDS to Speedy. That was Kevin Smith, I think.
Oh, was it? Okay.
We're talking about the girl, right? The prostitute.
Yeah, it wasn't. I thought he was writing it.
I think he might have done that. I can't remember. I think he was either working. He might have done it, but I think he was working with it.
He was. I know he was writing Green Arrow at the time.
He was. He writes it after Kevin Smith.
Okay, so maybe
my favorite stuff.
Maybe it was Kevin Smith. Yeah,
but I could be wrong. Fully, I don't know. We can do a nice little bet on this someday.
Who gave Speedy AIDS?
Well, now that I think about it, maybe it was Judd Winnick. You're probably right now, because I don't know. I'm gonna go with you on that one.
I was reading Green Arrow at the time, so I kind of remember, but it's been 20 years.
I was too, but I mean, it's been a lot of years. Yeah. a lot of drinking and other things.
You gotta drink to forget all these comics.
So what do you think about Miss America Chavez? She was originally just this really cool super Latinx superhero that Joe Casey wrote. And then when I think it was, I don't even remember what issue of anything she was all of a sudden gay, but she had her own series, and then she was like lesbian. She comes from this planet of women, and they're all together with each other, and it's kind of, I don't know what happened there.
A Wonder Woman situation.
Yeah. I don't know if Miss America Chavez is bi or gay or what, but she's definitely been with women before.
I don't know what her history was before. See, this Aqualad was pretty new at the time, right? He'd only been around a few years.
Yeah. So I think this was based off of Young Justice's Aqualad that they had at the time.
Yeah, from the cartoon, right?
Yeah, the cartoon. And then in the most recent Teen Titans, not Teen Titans Academy, but Teen Titans, in the beginning, they had a storyline where Aqualad was joining the team, but Black Manta, his father, was like coming after him. And this guy is gay and black and an Aquaman now.
Well, good for him.
Good for him. But all right, all right. So one of the reasons why I asked you on is, you've said before, and it's no secret that you're a gay man.
Oh, well, thanks for telling everybody.
Sorry, everybody.
Throwing that out.
Or sorry, Rick. Now that I've spoiled your secret,
that'll be a shock after my 10,000 comic books about twinks that I wrote.
I never, obviously, reading comics growing up. I got to admit, for the most part, the relationship stories weren't anything that I was really seeking. But possibly when I'm reading Spider-Man, that might have been that was a lot of what was in there. Geez, Black Cat's pining away for him. He's pining away for her and all these other chicks that he's with. Yeah. But although that is like a hallmark of like Spider-Man stories, it isn't anything that I really cared about. But then, of course, that's what I'm used to, or ultimately what I might be used to. How do you, growing up, how long? It was early on when you knew what you were, right?
What I was, yeah.
What you were, how you were. I'm joking. I'm sorry.
What kind of creature I was?
What kind of creature? What kind of mutant you are?
I'm not offended. Don't say sorry. One of the main reasons I read Spider-Man was because I liked the soap opera. I liked the supporting cast. So I always thought that was more interesting than like the fights.
Right.
So I don't, I have unpopular views about, representation, because I always think that I don't feel like I can't understand stories about straight relationships. So, I know it sucks that there's like, for a lot of people, they see almost no gay relationships, but I don't feel like I have to have a gay superhero. And, when they're DC yesterday is all patting themselves on their back with all their statements about, everybody needs heroes. And I'm thinking like, just because the hero doesn't have the same sexuality as me doesn't mean I can't enjoy it.
Are they saying that I'm not supposed to enjoy it now?
Yeah, are they saying that I didn't like Spider-Man when I was a kid because he was straight? I don't understand, I like Spider-Man, and I don't know, that's an involved thing, but I don't view art that way. I view art as the creator is supposed to express something about themselves, about their own experience, and then you find a common ground. You aren't the same person as the creator, but you can find commonality. And I don't look to art to see people that are exactly like me. That's not really my goal when I'm reading something. It's nice to, of course, there should be gay characters, but I never felt like deprived, like, oh, I can't read comic books because none of them are gay, and that never crossed my mind, So
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
When was the first time you felt like, and specifically I'm talking about superhero comics, when was the first time you maybe thought, it'd be kind of cool if like X character was, or if they created this character? Was there ever a time when you felt that way? Or because North Star was already out in comics, you never had to feel that way?
Well, no, I didn't read North Star. I didn't.
Well, I'm just saying, you just knowing that it's out there might be enough for you,
It was like I didn't, like North Star might be gay, but I like Spider-Man better. I read Spider-Man because I thought they were better stories. I wasn't looking for like, oh, which one of these is the same as me in some way.
Right.
And maybe that's it's probably a limited perspective because I'm white and male, and so a lot of them were like me. They're like me in other ways, So I didn't feel like, I never felt like the straight characters were like, oh, I can't understand this because it's not like me. I was never like wishing that there was a gay one. I would wish that there were attractive ones. I liked all the issues where Peter was changing in and out of his costumes. Those were my prized Spider-Man. For some reason, I've noticed this going back to the beginning. For some reason, they've got a thing where Spider-Man's always wearing tighty whities.
Tighty whities, he does.
Yeah, but for 60 years, Spider-Man's always had the same little pair of underwear. I don't know. It's got to be a conscious decision at this point. But But as a little kid, I love those. The ones where he's, like Mary Jane would walk in on him and he's taking off his little spider pants or whatever, and I would, that I'd be like, oh yeah, I like that, but I didn't feel, that was a lot more interesting to me than like North Star, does he have a boyfriend or whatever,
Right.
I wanted Spider-Man in his underpants. I would seek out issues like that. That was something I'd look for. So I didn't feel like I can't enjoy Spider-Man in his tidy whities because he's dating Mary Jane.
Right.
That didn't close me out of perving over the comic books at all.
But was there a time when you're like, I just need the gay Spider-Man or something like that? I just need something, because that's what a lot of people will say. They're like you said, DC patting themselves on the back. Finally, there's a bisexual Superman.
I never had the
who said that?
Finally, and I mean, I don't know. I guess I had a more rich imaginary life because in my mind, Batman and Robin were always fucking, and that because that was the whole reason that I liked Batman, was because I started watching Batman with the TV series. Used to be on in the afternoons, the 60s TV show. And I had a crush on, Burt Ward as Dick Grayson. Yeah. So that was, I liked that the same way that I liked the Spider-Man in his underwear scenes, And
Sure.
so that was good enough for me. I mean, when I liked, gay art, I'm thinking of when I was like a teenager and I started to get into gay art, and I liked, John Waters, and I liked gay stuff that was kind of, kind of fucked up and kind of punk rock. I didn't want to see like a happy gay relationship. That wasn't really what I was looking for.
Right.
But I mean, I would identify with that because it was, a gay creator and there's gay content. And so I'm like, oh, I would seek that out, but I wasn't.
Right. And he's making his movies for him. I mean, if you go in to see his movie as a straight person, I mean, you know what you're getting into.
Right, and that's because it was personal to John Waters. I think I like it more, but also it's because gay art from that time, gay artists, they were about like busting up taboos. They were about making people uncomfortable. They were about like spitting on the face of what was normal, right?
Right.
And then the new attitude now, when people talk about gay representation, is they want gay characters that are normal, and they want it to be just like, and not that I'm saying that gay people shouldn't be in mainstream society or whatever, but I gay art used to be about upsetting taboos, and now gay art is all about fitting in. John Waters said something a while ago about, I don't remember what he said exactly, but he said that the gay community now, he said, has more rules than the Catholic Church. Because it's true, because there's, if the gay community, if you write about anything, they want you to have like sensitivity readers to make sure you're using the right terminology and you describe everybody's body correctly and all this shit, And to me, that's exactly the opposite of what it should be about. It should be about breaking taboos, right? It should be about like, either that, or it should either be about breaking taboos and breaking down what's normal, or it should just be like a matter of a fact thing. It's not a big deal. Like I would have a lot more respect for the Superman thing if it was just they're just going along and in an issue and Jonathan's like, oh, he's really cute, I should ask him out on a date, and they didn't like make a fucking press release on coming out day,
Right.
If it was just like a thing, then that would be cool. But if you're going to make like a big thing about it, I think you should be doing something transgressive. They want so much credit for this, and they're patting themselves on the back so much about how they're, we're finally giving superheroes to all the poor little gay kids that don't have any, and it's they're what they're doing is actually like incredibly safe and predictable. Sure. It's like do the big press release if you're actually going to do something shocking. Don't do it if you're just he's kissing this weird little pink-haired boy.
Gotcha.
I mean.
Well, and then the thing is that when they do the press release, it's not anything that's like followed up on afterwards. I mean, in the industry, like in the comic books, it's like, okay, well, this Superman might stick around for a little bit because it's the Superman title, but it's also as Clark Kent goes out into space to deal with his stuff. Right. So whatever goes on in action is going to be in space, and then bisexual Superman will be in his own book. But if it's speculated that if sales drop, Superman Clark Kent is going to be coming back, and then bisexual Superman takes backstage or only second fiddle. And who cares about this Robin? This wasn't Dick Grayson, and it's not Damian who's the current Robin. So it's some Robin in between that most people didn't care about anyway.
Yeah, the way that they're doing it is.
Sorry, Tim Drake fans.
I'm a Tim Drake fan, but he's like the third Robin. It's
right.
The way they're doing it is 100% safe, and it's also really calculated because they know if they go out and just, the New York Times headline is going to be gay Superman, and they know that the average person is going to be like, oh yay, they're look at them, look at all this progress, and they don't realize that it's Jonathan Kent. They don't know who Jonathan Kent is, and they don't realize that the minute that sales dip on this, he's going to be off to a sidekick book, and the real Superman's going to be back. And not only that, they won't even just make him gay, they make him bi, because if they ever do, because he's bi, so that way, on the TV show, he can still have a girlfriend.
Oh man, I don't know. Okay, so I remember hearing a YouTube guy talk about Iceman, and his premise was that they made him gay when he obviously had lady relationships before. And it's not so much that he ends up gay, he is automatically turns gay. You know what I mean? And there's like no in between, no no perspective, no inner thoughts or anything like that. He just is, and at the time, and I mean, now it doesn't feel like that way. Now it feels like this all the time, but bisexuality in comics didn't seem to be necessarily, unless we're talking women, that's different. But we're talking about between men being bisexual. That's something that wasn't going on in comics. Now it seems like that. You're right. It does feel like it's a safe thing, but or it feels like it's their turn in the letters of the LGBTQ. That we're dealing with bisexuality now this year, and next year we'll be dealing with this one instead, or something like that.
But I really don't think that they're doing it out of like respect for bisexual people. I think they're doing it because it's safer than just saying he's gay. Because this way, because on the show he still has a girlfriend, and then if they actually lose sales over this, then he can go back to having a girlfriend. So
sure.
they're just trying to do. It's not like they sat there and they're like, oh, those poor bisexuals, we need to help them out. It's a calculated thing. Somebody's sitting there counting the money, and they're like, well, I don't know, gay might be, what if we want him to have a girlfriend next year? Okay, we'll do bi.
Well, and I kind of thought that that's where they were going to ultimately be going with that new Wonder Woman, so they could finally have that Superman Wonder Woman thing that they've been, jonesing forever, for real. And, there were a few times where I wasn't quite so sure about Yara Flor, I mean, I'm sure they could still go any way they want. But I thought her and John, were kind of like where they were going with that. And I'm not necessarily upset one way or the other. It just felt like that was something that felt like, well, this is something that might last. This is something that they're going towards, and we as readers can grow up with this. And it's kind of like what we know. And it's like, but you don't have that Lois Lane. I had an interview with a comic creator on our Patreon that is, you can join our Patreon for like as little as $1, I think. You can listen to this interview with a comics creator. I've only done this once where I didn't talk about who the person was. We just talked about their stuff. And one of the things they said, see, proper use of they, by the way, the thing that they said was that superheroes these days get in relationships with other superheroes. Whereas when we were reading comic books in the early days, or the comics, in the omnibuses that you're reading, Spider-Man's having relationships with people that aren't superheroes.
Right.
And it was actually like a new thing that he would even be hanging around Black Cat, who had superpowers.
And
but now superheroes, he dated Mockingbird. Mockingbird's been with, Hawkeye, and, well, I guess I was older, but I kind of.
And wasn't that was the whole interesting thing, was like, oh, how do I hide my secret identity? How do I juggle my two lives or whatever,
Right.
And it was I think it was because back, like, Spider-Man doesn't, in the early days, he doesn't know a lot of other superheroes. He kind of knows the Fantastic Four, but they don't know his secret identity. They aren't sure if he's a good guy or not,
Right.
And it's like he was kind of a loner. I think that's the accumulated baggage when now they have like 9,000 Spider people running around New York.
Is it 9,000 Spider-Mans, or the fact that he's been around for like 60 years now?
Well, Spider-Man and also all the other heroes too. And
the only thing I can do is make him gay now, man, or bisexual.
Well,
what else can I do?
There's that too, yeah, that they just run out of stories. There's just...
Here's one that got everybody. Did you know that D-Man is gay?
No, I don't know what D-Man is.
Demolition Man from Captain America days. Okay. He becomes the nanny for Spider-Woman. I think it's actually quite sweet, and him being gay is a very cool, although side character. I think he's really well done. But he is kind of like, I got a beer belly or dad bod beard kind of thing going on, so he kind of looks a little lame also. But I think he's a well-represented character in that book.
He's gay?
He's gay.
Wow.
He's gay. This guy's bi. He was bi from the beginning, and he uses it. Is he really bi, or is he just kind of a guy that uses his pheromones and doesn't care where he goes? I guess that's bi. Dakin. Do you know Dakin?
No.
That's Wolverine's son.
Oh, is it?
That Wolverine actually had to kill, but he comes back.
Does Wolverine kill him because he's gay?
No, kills him because he's a son of a bitch. I think he drowned him, if I'm not mistaken. But he comes back, and it's not good. Of course he does. Of course he does. Now everybody that's a mutant comes back.
Right.
And if you need someone to seduce man or woman, this is your person, your mutant. Right here.
It's not my type.
Not your type. Is it the mohawk or the tattoos?
It's too buff.
Too buff. Gotcha. Mm. How about these two?
Is Mystique is supposed to be bi also, right?
Well, we'll get into Mystique in just a moment. But her love of her life has been Destiny. And I guess there was the X-Men Classic where Chris Claremont would have other artists do extrapolations on stories, as if it was like X-Men Legends of today.
Yeah.
They have one where Destiny and Mystique talk about goings-ons, and it's pretty much understood in that story that they're together. I think they're more like together like this, though. If you know what I mean.
Well, see, that's the other thing with the bi thing. The reason that they do it with, Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy and all those characters is it's not for bi people. It's because straight guys like it.
Sexy.
Right.
Can you make sure Adam Hughes draws that cover? Sexy.
Yeah, because there's no pushback on that because they're worried about their straight.
Well, I kind of try to suggest that without using air quotes, earlier. It's, if it's women getting together, it's okay. It's always been okay, sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always going to be your Christian right that are stupid, but
and they just say that they're bi because that way people, guys can still imagine that they have a chance or whatever. But
definitely
they don't mind the two ladies bit, so that's okay.
No.
So if you just say Poison Ivy's gay, that's you're good. Nobody gets upset about that.
Not really. Although I don't know, the thing about Mystique is that's later. Okay, all right. Alan Scott, this was a big deal. There was the Earth 2 story that was during the New 52, and this character was introduced, and he was proposing to his lover on a train when something happened and dude dies. Okay. But they took that character and made the Alan Scott of our universe, if you will, the one that's old and has been hanging around in Infinity Incorporated and all the other 52 universes, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's gay now too, but he's a late in life old man gay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's terminology for that, but his son Obsidian is also gay. And that was
I was going to say earlier that was one actually in the Manhunter series. Obsidian and his boyfriend were in that, right?
Right. She had so I was looking that up because I always remembered Obsidian was one of those characters that became, I don't know, what do you say, became gay? Not became, transitioned, just learned who they were ultimately. But he also had like relations with ladies, but or at least a lady. And there's like, progression of character. And I don't think, Obsidian was that big a deal that anybody was going to be outraged anymore.
Yeah, because I remember that was one that I liked.
Oh, there you go.
In Manhunter. That his whole thing in there I thought was a non-obnoxious gay character. I was fine with that story.
Right. This was the cover for Harley Quinn #1. I thought, wow, that's kind of I didn't expect to see that on a mainstream comic book cover. How's that?
It's surprising because they're all the cartoon style, so it looks like one of the comics for kids ones.
Oh, I know.
They do it based on the animated shows. That's what I thought it was.
They do it. There's a HBO show. It looks like this, but it's very much like this also.
Yeah, at first I thought it was like, based on the animated series versions or whatever.
Right. No, I do like the interpretations of the characters watching though. It is pretty funny. But yeah, that's pretty wild. It's sold very well in my store, by the way.
Why is Gordon's like lesbians?
He's not well, they're villains, so I think they get away a lot. So
but they're not,
that's
they're
why
kids.
He's not really angry at what they're doing, just that they're
just that they exist.
Stuff, yeah.
Okay.
Just that they exist.
Stop rubbing it in my face.
Catwoman looks very bored, and Batgirl is very uncomfortable. I can't wait.
I feel like Catwoman in the cover, just like, oh Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she digs the Batman, I guess. Anyway. Oh, there you go, Iceman.
Yeah. I thought that there was
that's a great painting. That's Joe Phillips, I think, from back in the 90s.
Who's Joe Phillips? Yeah, there's a shock. I had no idea.
I found out because of Prism. It's like this. It's like, I guess, a comic company, and it's like, hey, let's celebrate the people that are gay in comic books. And I'm like, oh, Joe Phillips, that makes sense.
Yeah, I know Prism, but yeah, Joe. I've met Joe a couple times. No, I didn't realize that he did superhero stuff for a long time. Because when I was a teenager, I just knew him from like his gay pinup drawings.
Oh, no kidding! Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was mostly pinups, but if you weren't like super prolific in the day.
Well, he also did. There was a magazine called XY Magazine, which is like a magazine for gay teenagers.
Oh, really?
90s. Yeah, it was in the. It was a magazine for gay teenagers in the 90s, and I used to buy it because there was like that, or there was like Advocate Magazine, which was like gay political stuff for like middle-aged gays, and then there was XY, which was for gay teens, but it was mostly like pin-up pictures of like 18-year-olds in their underwear. So there was something a little bit skeezy about it,
Oh man, that's yeah.
They went out.
Oh no, it's just for kids. Don't worry about it, people.
Well, it's supposed to be like, oh, this is a magazine so gay teenagers can have a magazine for
they should
for gay teen. But the thing was, it was mostly pictures of like barely legal boys in their underpants, and it was mostly bought by dirty old men, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
So anyway, that was XY Magazine, and Joe Phillips used to do some little comics and things in there. So that was actually where I knew him. And then I was surprised years later, like, oh, he did just superhero stuff.
Yeah,
like,
he worked at Wildstorm and stuff.
I thought he just did the cute boys from I was cleaning out my old magazines a couple years ago. I was going through like all my old magazines and organizing them. And my boyfriend I pulled out like my stack of XYs from the 90s. And my boyfriend at the time looked at it. He's like, "What the fuck is this?" He called it my little boys in underwear magazines. And I was like, I was buying it when I was 17. Okay.
I know what
I was 17. I was a little, I wasn't 40 buying this magazine, but
I'm not buying collectibles.
Yeah, no, that's as soon as he saw it, that's when he started making fun of me for my little boys in underwear magazine. But anyway, that's where I knew Joe Phillips from. That was my Joe Phillips.
All right. Well, I'm so glad I picked this picture.
Eventually the magazine went out of business because the advertisers jumped ship because people were saying that it was like 1 month away from being kiddie porn. So they couldn't
who was
get
the underwear ad guy that got in trouble or accused or whatever. I can't remember. It was like I shouldn't even be talking if I can't remember. It's like like real clothing company, but their advertisements for like male clothing was like bordering on like pedophilia or something like that.
You talking about like A&F, their catalog?
I don't remember. I'll look it up. We'll look it up and put it in the notes.
That was a thing too in the 90s.
The dude on the ladder. I remember that was a thing. It was like some kid on a ladder. Whatever. I'm not sure.
It was like, well, back in the 90s, like we got dial-up internet like 1999, so I didn't have porn or anything. So I would buy the A&F catalog, but it was a controversy at the time because the A&F catalog, they would have like naked models in the catalog.
Oh, wow.
And it's a clothing catalog, but the models aren't wearing any clothing. The models were just there to get you to buy the magazine.
Okay. Wow.
But that was that was another thing in the 90s. But
all right, very good. I mean, I remember Sears catalogs, but
that's what I was going to say is that it was in straight magazines they use like 18, 19-year-old models.
They sure do
all the time. And straight, it's all models are always like 19 years old in straight magazines. But when it's a gay magazine, it becomes a big thing. People get really touchy about it.
All right, this is a current thing that John Constantine he's not just bisexual. I mean, this guy fucks demons too. So whether they have like horned dicks or vaginas with teeth, he's doing something to them. But this is a big bisexual icon in DC right now.
Didn't Alan Moore made him bisexual, right?
I don't remember any of that. I just remember him being I haven't read every single issue because who can get through those Jamie Delano shits? They are horrible. But Garth Ennis stuff is great, and he's I think he's 100% hetero in those stories. But I don't know. I mean, this guy makes deals with demons and devils, so not trying to compare the two, but he's probably game.
Well, he fucks monsters, but they're monsters.
They're just women monsters.
Lady monsters.
No. I think it's suggested. I don't know if there's ever been a story where he's been hanging out with dudes and it wasn't drug induced or what, but he can't be a punk rocker from the era he's from and be a real person now. So the only thing you can do to change him a little bit is, I guess make him a little bit more poly or something like that.
Okay.
That's if the premise is that the only reason why these characters are becoming gay or whatever is because there's like no imagination.
They're just out of stories. Yeah.
I don't know. When it's John Constantine, I mean, I think the real problem again is that IPs last too long and these companies make way too much money on them and they have to like pump this shit out, and whether comics are or aren't, and I'm talking about mainstream, are in their dying days, they're going to be wrung out like that freaking dirty sponge in your sink,
See, I thought you disagreed with me on that, because I remember I said to you before that like the problem with Batman is Batman was just never meant to sustain like 10 comics a month for 90 years. Batman was, you could get maybe Well, they reinvented him a couple times and they extended him, but the original Batman idea, they were already running on empty by the 50s,
Right.
So,
well, I mean, things did change. I mean, obviously they went through that whole camp bit, and then, art styles change, and, for the better, hopefully, in comics, and the writers get more sophisticated. You can tell the difference between a Roy Thomas and a Denny O'Neil, and a Denny O'Neil to a Chris Claremont, and a Chris Claremont to, I don't know, Neil Gaiman, to all the other ones that are really sophisticated. And you can talk about all the different art styles also. And what gets hot is not necessarily like, you don't read a Rob Liefeld to see two dudes kissing, that's for sure.
But you were talking about how it's just kind of, they're out as stories. And I think that there is, I was saying to you before, what they need to do is they should just stop making Batman comics. They should just, it's enough.
Just one. I mean, if you have to have two, I've said it many a time, have a Brave and the Bold. And don't be afraid to have bi-monthly comic books. Everybody is so worried about, getting content out there. If you have a staggered system of bi-monthly comic books, you wouldn't need to have Batman every week. You could have some, like DC has like a plethora of characters they never use. Look at these two, probably the epitome of awesome, kick-ass superheroes that happen to be in love with each other, Midnighter and Apollo, from the Warren Ellis days.
Yeah, they're okay.
They're all right. I mean, as far as like kicking ass, like this dude, Midnighter, punches his fist through people's heads, and Apollo soaks up the sun and will like burn you to death and stuff,
Yeah, Superman
style. And they're very, very upset when people are homophobic too. Don't fuck with them.
Because you were asking me yesterday to think of gay superheroes that I like, and I was thinking like, I don't like any of them.
Oh, really?
I like like a couple. I'll see if you get to them in your slideshow.
Well, you don't like Apollo and Midnighter?
Well, they're fine.
I love their story. I love the Warren Ellis Authority. It's Stormwatch going into Authority is just so great. We've got them at the store, people, in trade. It's so good. Brian Hitch doing artwork. It's before he did the Ultimates and sold out. No, I'm just joking.
You still sell Warren Ellis? You haven't like put it in a glass case or?
Brian Hitch drew this. He'll be doing Venom soon. Oh, remember when Mystique and Iceman were a couple? God, that's a great Chris Bocciolo cover.
I don't remember that.
It's because Mike Carey wrote it, and nobody remembers Mike Carey stuff.
Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Guess what? She stabs him, leaves him to die.
But Iceman, before Iceman was gay, he only had what, like 2 or 3 big girlfriends?
Well, he had that Asian girl in the 80s and Mystique here. And I don't know. I'm not invested. Again, a lot of people will say that they were very systematic on who they made gay in the X-Men. It had to be an original person. But if you made Cyclops gay, there would be a lot of pissed off people. And I really think you should have just made it Wolverine. But whatever. He's had way too many wives that Sabretooth has killed.
Well, that's what I was going to say, though, is that there's like, it depends on the character how much latitude you have, because
right,
I can believe somebody is whatever, they're closeted or whatever, but it depends. You can't do it to Cyclops because just the Jean Grey thing and all, his love life is such a huge thing.
I know, you want to shock him, make it a brunette. That's when something's crazy with Cyclops, right? He's hitting on a brunette lady.
Yeah, that would shake things up.
Yeah, maybe a plus size person, that would be like, oh my god, what's he doing? Wow, Matt Murdock would be with like an ugly girl, this blind guy that's dating ugly girls all of a sudden.
How does he know? Is he sensitive enough to like know if they have nice?
Oh, he can touch money and knows the printing on it just because of the slight impression on the ink on the letters or the numbers.
That's true. So he knows if a girl's hot. Right?
Oh. Yeah, you look at the way blind people get to see what people look like. they're like touching people like crazy, the whole time. It's very, very, very erotic.
Maybe you should look for a blind girlfriend. It might.
No, I don't. I'm not looking for any girlfriend. Jill in the other room is fine. I'm allowed to do this because of her. Yeah, all right, we talked about Obsidian. That's Alan Scott's kid.
Oh yeah, Obsidian's fine.
What about Pyro? Did you know that he was gay?
Yeah, I knew he. Well, I was gonna go into a Bryan Singer thing, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna leave that alone.
Oh, very good. That guy
But
gets in trouble, right?
There's a thing with the Pyro in the movies, but
oh, gotcha. All right, well, we'll move on from there. Oh, this was a big deal. I remember this. Rawhide Kid.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of obnoxious, and
I think the worst thing was that Hollywood Zimmerman guy came in and wrote it. That was probably the worst thing.
Yeah,
but I think he might be he might know a thing or two. But I don't remember if that's a true thing or not. But yeah, this was, I don't know, it wasn't really that big a deal. It's just they wanted it to be like, hey, look, we're gonna be really shocking, and not only are we gonna like bring up this like old dusty thing that we have to do so we can keep the rights to it or whatever it is, we're gonna make him gay too. And it's gonna be real. It's hard, yeah, right. It's just it's every like stereotype in one comic book, if I remember correctly. It's just
I don't.
It's not to be beheld. Although, show me where you can get one.
I'm not super offended or anything. I just thought it was kind of shitty comic.
Yeah, it's just hokey. And I guess the Ray, I've read it for a while, but I don't remember that being the case. But it might be a New 52 thing.
I don't know the Ray.
I got to admit, I was looking up things that I wasn't sure about. This got Rob Liefeld pissed.
Yeah.
Shatterstar and Richter.
Yeah.
But I think Shatterstar is like, again, we're like talking about like a poly dude, that will like, and I mean more than just like robots and stuff, that.
Well, yeah, isn't he from like some
Lando?
He's like from the Mojo verse or something, isn't
right?
He? He's like fucking space aliens,
squid people and stuff like that. Yeah. Now Richter, I did enjoy it. So this was a very good examination of a character that wasn't sure who they were, right? And like Shatterstar is like he's experimenting on Shatterstar basically to find out what kind of dude he is. So I'm not even sure. I think he's just like really into Shatterstar, maybe. I have no idea, but nonetheless, Richter. I thought Peter David does this. What do you think? Like, do you think he has a sensitivity reader when he's doing that, or he's just a writer?
Peter David.
Yeah, Peter David.
I mean, I like Peter David. I've liked him since I was a little kid. I was reading his Star Trek books and Spider-Man 2099, and I liked a lot. See, that was another example. Spider-Man 2099. There was all those scenes in the first issue where they do the experiment on him in Alchemex, and then he's like running out of there and he doesn't have clothes, and he's trying to cover himself with the sheet or whatever he finds and everything. That was why when I was a little kid I loved Spider-Man 2099, because it had like naked Spider-Man running around for half an issue.
All right.
So that was like, I didn't need him to be gay. I was getting my enjoyment out of it, even though he was heterosexual.
That's so interesting. Because like there's so many people now that are into comic books from so many areas, and they want to be like represented like now. What I mean? I need to have this now. It has to fit these things now.
Right. Everything has to be for everybody. It has to be for me. It has to be about me and my life. And I don't understand that. And I you could tell the impression it left on me, right? Because Spider-Man 2099, that was like 29 years ago, and I still can describe exactly the half-naked panels. So that was,
right. No, sure, definitely.
It's like seared. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff that you saw when you were a little kid, right?
Oh yeah,
like your first naked picture or whatever. It's like
oh yeah. I mean, I was going to keep it more comic books, but for sure there were. The thing is that I got to admit, for the most part, maybe like if it was Teen Titans, because I was more a teenager during that time, and Dick and Corey were getting together, and Wonder Girl's boobs were like super big, and Changeling was like younger like I was, and he was like lusting. And it's like, oh, you don't think about the fact that Tara is going to be screwing Deathstroke, and that she's a teenager and he ain't. And it always gets brought up now, but it's like, I was that kid that was like, you mother effer, what are you doing hanging out with this, and all this stuff, and it was like, it ripped me apart as a reader. So I think, like, in the lens of today, people might see that stuff and go, oh, this is so, cringy or just horrible. But you got to put yourself more like, I don't know. I guess maybe if you have to put yourself in another time, it doesn't last. But nonetheless, those are some really gripping, important stories in my life that I remember. And I think for the most part, like the Teen Titans was where, I was probably my most horny.
Well, and that's valid. People think that if they pick up an old piece of art and they don't immediately understand it, they think like, oh, this aged badly, it's not relevant. But that's kind of a bullshit thing. Sometimes to enjoy something, you have to educate yourself a little bit, and that's okay. That's why you can't just expect to pick up everything and have it the first time you look at it immediately it makes sense to you. Wiccan.
All right, you're not into Wiccan and Hulkling, I can guarantee that.
I mean, I actually liked them in the first Young Avengers thing.
Sure.
I think they're really obnoxious now. I read the whole what was the crossover called with their wedding? The whole
I don't remember what it was called. Empire? Was it
Empire? Yeah. I read the whole Empire bullshit and I hated it. But I did like Wiccan and Hulkling at the beginning. I think that they've become super obnoxious now.
Right.
But
so I didn't have any of your favorite gay superheroes in comic books.
Obsidian and Wiccan and Hulkling, I think, are the only ones that I ever liked.
Oh wow, and I was totally wrong thinking you'd like Wiccan and Hulkling. Well, except for all right.
I mean,
I thought the Gillen McKelvey stuff was pretty good. Let me ask you a question so that I can like sum up stuff later. What do you think of, like, people that aren't gay, aren't male, writing women writing men, black, white, and all the other stuff, but specifically gay? What do you think of, like, when people that aren't like write characters do? I mean, is it just like, is it equally cringy or horrible when, Cena Grace is writing a bad Iceman as opposed to me writing a bad Iceman, or even a good one? Is it maybe just isn't important enough to want to care? Is it just, what do you think about that stuff?
I think
people do the sensitive reader thing, like you said.
Yeah, and I hate that. I think that's a really stupid way. I mean, I don't want to speak for people's racial issues or for issues that aren't my issues, but as far as the gay thing goes, I think it's so stupid to think like, oh, you're straight, so you can't write a gay character. I think that's just the most ridiculous way to think about things. That's not how art works, and you have to understand, if it's a straight writer and he's writing a gay character, he's not going to write my life the way I would write my life. He's writing from his perspective. And that's okay for a straight guy to write about what he likes, or it's okay for straight guys to write his lesbian fantasy that he's got, or whatever. That's okay. Like, people should write what means something to them, and not every book is for every reader. I can't. My gay people I know drive me crazy. Anytime there's something with a gay character, I'm gonna see some gay somewhere that's gonna look at it and he's gonna go, well, me and my friends aren't like that, so this sucks. This isn't how me and my friends act. So, okay, well, then it's not about you. Not everything is about every person, It's about, good art is specific, and when something's really specific, you can find the universal things in it. Like, 'cause I always use like R. Crumb as the example. R. Crumb being one of, god of cartooning, one of my favorites. But R. Crumb is sex fetishes. He likes giant, tall, hairy women, with giant asses and giant legs. I like, twinks. I like pretty cute men that are skinny and hairless and shorter than me. I like that a lot. But that doesn't mean I can't read R. Crumb and see something that's universal. And I understand like the psychology of it, even though it's not like, people look at it in this really shallow way, like, oh yeah, me and him, we like the same thing. That doesn't mean you can't understand it because we don't like the same thing. I can still understand it, I think it's just sort of like a really knee-jerk thing to look at and want it to be just like you and just like your life all the time. And as somebody that makes art, that really drives me nuts. I since like the first time I ever went to a comic convention, one of the first people that ever came up to me and was like, "Oh, I'm a fan of your books." This guy came up to me and he's like, "Oh yeah, I read your comics online. I love your comics." And he had a wife and he had a baby, and I thought, "Oh, that's great." I loved that because I thought, it really bothers me that some people feel like if you write gay comics, you're writing for gay people and you have to have gay people reading it. That drives me nuts. I mean, of course, I like it if gay people read my comics. I want gay people to whatever, but I'm not writing for gay people. I'm writing for myself. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that was like really cool to me that a married straight guy with a baby could pick up my comics and like it and understand what I'm talking about and, get something out of it. So I don't know if that answered the question that I started with rambling.
No, I think that's good. I like a lot of that. It has nothing to do with what my stupid question was. It was just good. And I want to like go the other way. Like you're like, oh man, I don't want to see John Kent being all bi all the time, and it's not going to be that way. Number one, and you can try something different for a second or two. Tom Taylor, not always my favorite comic book writer, and he does when. He'll get into like those social issues, but it feels differently than when Spider-Man was dealing with it. Like I always love when Aunt May was with the Grey Panthers and she's all
that's one of my favorite stories.
Like tenant rights and stuff like that.
That was great.
That
Old
was
people have
a
rights
hot
too.
Button issue at the time.
Old people have rights. Yeah.
People are, I can't stand this. Bullshit. But I think Tom Taylor does get a little overboard on that. But having said that, I really have been enjoying his book. I just finished the 3rd issue, and the 5th issue has not been FOC'd, which means you have a month before it comes out. 4th issue hasn't even come out. A lot of comic stores might still have these. I definitely have issue 1. I don't know about number 2. So this is a pretty cool character. I still would like to see him ultimately maybe start hanging out with Yara Flor a little bit more because she's saucy, and that Superman Wonder Woman thing is kind of cool. But I don't want to like take away everybody's bicon, or anything like that. But I guess that means he can play the field.
Well, okay. Oh yeah. I remembered where I was going with all that, which was that
I made comic books too.
what we were talking. I wasn't trying to self-promote.
I'm just joking. So
it's been so long since I've published a comic. I don't even think you can find me. So no self-promotion. Watch my YouTube channel, like and subscribe.
Rick Worley.
Rick Worley YouTube channel. Now, where I was going with that is what we were talking about before we started broadcasting, which was like, if Tom Taylor is the writer for the Superman thing, I would have a lot more respect for it if he was like, oh, this was a story that I wanted to write because it meant a lot to me. But instead, the way that they phrase it is he's like, oh, gay people need heroes too. Everybody needs a hero. We have to. He phrases it like he's doing some sort of big favor for the gays, and that's where it starts to annoy me because I look at this and I'm thinking he's like
Bono.
Yeah, like he's doing all the gay kids a big. Look at me, I'm saving all the little gabies, and I'm just like,
gabies.
Yeah, gay babies, little gays. That's what you call baby gays.
I didn't know that. Of course, it makes perfect sense.
I think it's like slang from 12 years ago. I'm the only one that uses it. But,
nobody likes to think about the babies that way.
But that's gay. I call gabies the like the little 20-year-old gay kids that just came out of and they think that they just came out of the closet and they think that they know everything. They're gonna
sure. I've been gay for all of 10 minutes.
I've been gay for half an hour, and I'm gonna explain gender to you on.
That's like everybody that's like new into comic books. It's like I feel all right, and I'm sorry if anybody's listening that like has done this because I've done this too. Oh, I want this and I want it to be this, 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 and this. I'm like, they're trying to make a comic for more than what you to read, you know, that's
Right,
the
yeah.
thing. And it's like, a lot of times it stems from like, you know, like women characters, plenty of women characters in comic books, but you know, you say they can't have anything more than a C cup, all of a sudden, you know, you start slimming down some of the books. I mean, it's a little bit different these days, but oh, I don't want a guy to write it. I want it to have lesbian in it. You know, I want it to be this. And it's like, there's no such thing as that, is what you're asking for.
Well, yeah,
or that's just this one thing and that's it.
There's a difference between like this is the type of comic book that I'd like to read, and every comic book must be directed for me. Like those are two different, you know.
Right.
And the way that they're trying to sell this bisexual Jonathan thing is that they're doing a big favor for all the little gabies. I think it's funny because it rhymes with scabies, like they're a pest.
Yes.
They're a little pest.
Little
anyway,
little gabies are pests.
Such a yeah, that's my point. But we're on such a tangent.
Oh shit!
What I was saying is, you know, I look at this and I think, like, is this for gay people? Because I don't like this. You know, this isn't for me. So, you know, when you're trying to make something, you're trying to imagine what does my audience want, and you're trying to like tailor it to an imaginary audience. And like, I'm going to do something for the gay audience. It never works because, you know, gay people aren't all the same, and so you can't like, I'm going to make this comic for the gays. That doesn't work because, you know, most gays aren't going to like it. You have to make something that's sincere, you know? So that was my answer to your question of like, does it bother me when straight people do it? It would bother me a lot less if he was making it because it was something he cared about or something he liked, you know?
Right.
I don't like it that he's trying to like, you know, give a gift to all the gay children of the universe because they don't need this shit.
Right.
You know, he's not saving any lives, you know?
My favorite gay. Oh, I'm sorry. My favorite gay.
That was it. That was.
I gotta say, like, I gotta get this up because I'm just thinking about this now. My favorite gay characters in comics are almost always superhero comics. Again, I'm sorry, I gotta like specifically say this. And even like his Vertigo stuff, Peter Milligan. I like his characterization of all characters, including the gay ones. And I'm trying to say it like this because there's multiple ones. Multiple stories where he has multiple gay characters, and if I tell you about any of them, it will be a surprise.
You're trying not to spoil the one that we talked about. Okay, yeah.
Well, no, it's even other ones. Like I'm going to give this one away. Shade the Changing Man. And it is two women, but I think there's also like a shade in the middle kind of thing. Anyway, you like that's like something that happens later on in the story, but it just always feels so much more natural when it's him writing. Like he's a good writer. But
and DC doesn't have any of those anymore, so it's that's what makes it harder. But
yeah,
well, maybe a couple. They gotta.
I mean, I don't. All right, so like James
Tynion,
he's out. I mean, he's got like this Batman thing that he's finishing up. I'm sure he'll be like welcome back to do something really big. But he's having a hiatus on the Nice House on the Lake, and then he's doing Substack stuff, and I don't know when he's going to be back. And
they're fleeing; they're running for the exit.
He's a bi icon in comic books right now. He's a bicon, right? That would be that. Is that what it is?
Bicon, yeah.
He'd be a bicon,
yeah.
And he's like moving on over. So like DC's got like all these other people that are. And we didn't talk about the bad things about comics. The good thing about comics is that they're coming out tomorrow, and I have all 3 different invoices and comics checked in from the different distributors. 3 of them. I mean, what a world we live in. 3 distributors. Each one only handles one thing. But that's what.
I'm sorry, I got off message. You have a podcast to sell comics, and I'm sitting here for 2 hours talking about how much I hate comics.
No. It's quite all right. No, let me tell you, owning a store and seeing it is very difficult to get excited. And on top of it, a lot of the things that I enjoy in comics aren't in them right now, and it's usually creators.
Right.
And I've just like, I've aged out a little bit. There's always something good that's coming out. There's always something neat. It's usually art driven more now. I think of like all the old people that come in the comic store then when I was younger, and they come in and they'll look at stuff, and then they'll get something that has like re-lookability factor to it, and that's like like either they get something they always get, like, oh, I always get a Kirby collector. I'm thinking of this guy named Howard. I always get a Kirby collector and maybe anything that Mike Barron does, So now, look, Mike Barron, who the F is he? That type of thing. He just did Nexus and comic books for the day, in the day.
Yeah, that's part of it.
And that's about it, and that's kind of where I am. If Daniel Warren Johnson does something, whether it's Marvel, DC, or his own created stuff, I'll read it. If somebody special comes back, like let's say, oh, we're gonna, I can't, this doesn't even thrill me, but I'm just saying it for the people that it does thrill. Claremont's coming back to do a run on X-Men, right? Uncanny X-Men. Won't you love this? John Byrne, it's often rumored that, they could take his old, his stuff that he's been doing for his own fanfic and just do, color that stuff, and it's ready to go. It's issues and issues and issues worth of stuff.
Yeah.
And it looks good because we don't see John Byrne anymore. Back in the 90s, he was tired. I don't want to see his art no more. Now, even seeing the stuff that's even worse than the 90s would be something special because, nobody does that kind of style of comic book anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, there's still some things that I like.
Those would be things. Yeah, what do you like?
Like current monthly stuff.
Yeah, do you like anything? Ultra Mega's coming out in collected form. James Herron, that's nice stuff. Kaiju style.
I mean, yeah, we get to that age where you just want to. I'm buying collected editions of the comics that I bought when I was 12. There's, I'll dip into current stuff once in a while. I don't know if there's anything that's like any creator that's like a must-have. Like I have to get everything by so and so. I don't think I have anybody right now that's really making stuff. I don't know. I should try again, I guess.
Well, that's where people like go off on. All right, so we've been talking about mainstream all night, and we're 2 hours in, so we're gonna end in just a sec. There's Fantagraphics. There's Drawn and Quarterly. It's something to be celebrated if there's a new Tomine, or if there's a new Dan Clowes book.
Mm-hmm.
When these creators don't make anything anymore, it's not good. So get that new Chris Ware thing, even if it's super expensive. Get some new creator something that's off the street. I carry local books. Geez, Rick, I have not ordered.
You have a lot of indie stuff and artsy stuff in your store. We always talk about the superheroes, but you have lots of the other stuff.
Oh yeah,
you still have my comics, so you obviously had the high art stuff because if you had mine,
I've got Silver Sprocket. They do all this like this violent feminism stuff. Monster women on the rag. It's hilarious. By women. It's great. Anyway, they're like based out of San Francisco, but I order their stuff and it's awesome. I get like the smaller companies like Aftershock, just not every single one. And a lot of times, like it's the subject matter I just don't want to have in the store, or really I just don't want to see it. Like I don't want this like gun just like, staring me in my face, even if it's like a sexy woman, I just don't care. But, I can sell that. That's fine. But I don't want to look at it. Anyhow, Rick, thanks for being on the show and talking about this very fun subject.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. It was cool. I think we got some good clip baity stuff. We got that. You got to search in the middle of the show. Rick gave a little plug for his next video that's going to be coming out in a couple of days.
Oh yeah, the big reveal.
I'm joking about the couple of days thing, but it should be on soon, right?
Yeah, well, now that I said a couple days, it'll probably take me 2 months, but
Right.
it's almost
Soon.
finished. Almost finished. It's very soon.
It's going to be a lot shorter than any of the other ones, or it's going to be a lot longer than any of the other ones you've watched if you haven't watched any. So there you go. You can go into his channel and watch any of his previous videos and get ready for the new one. And yes, we do always love a Worley episode. Thank you very much. He stayed for the whole thing. That's how much he likes it.
Yeah, you had a few people stuck around for the whole.
That's right. And we'll have a lot later too. So let us know what you think in the comments down below. And we'll see you next week. Bye.